And let's take a look at the results here. So you can see the final result is that we just less than $500,000 made from this robot. So first things first, I'll show you the results. So if I open up the downloads documentation here, so if I go through all the results here, I have it in a zip file, which will be available for anyone to download and look at. So for indices, the results for using a 50K account is 15,671 profit. I'm going to open all of these on Google Chrome, but I'll read out the results because I left the results on the file here so that anyone who's looking at this can see. So for commodities, because we only trade gold on here, for trading gold, it was 9,630 profit here on gold. I'll open that out. Now the robot is designed to trade on any pair, but the idea is that I've been testing out of all of the currencies, cryptocurrency, forex, and commodity markets, because I designed this robot not to trade on futures. Futures should be slightly different because of the calculations for futures contracts, but for everything else, FX indices, commodities, and crypto, it works perfectly. So for FX, all right, I'm opening it. So for 50K account with fixed 5 lots with the optimal settings, we got 13,305 profit.
Nice.
So for NZD Japanese yen, so these are all the pairs that we trade for forex. Nothing else. These are only ones. So Euro USD, Euro JPY. I think this is supposed to be 20. So NZD JPY is 23,383 profit for that. All right. The results will come up in a minute. Euro JPY is 2K profit. For CAD Japanese yen, the profit was 6,313. For AUD JPY, it was 2,636 profit. Next one. So NZD USD. So for me, mainly the majors that we use, the top optimal pairs to use this robot on is USD CHF, Pound USD, Euro USD, and USD CAD. Those are like the top 4 that we go for, but you can use these on any. There's also Pound Japanese Yen here, which I haven't added. Pound Japanese Yen is another extremely good pair. So let me go over to the downloads of the data and pull that up as well. Give me a second.
Okay.
So Pound Japanese Yen. Okay, Pound Japanese Yen is here from yesterday. So Pound Japanese Yen results. I think Pound Japanese Yen is the best Japanese Yen pair out of all of these. I'm gonna and put this. Let me put this here. Crypto. Now Pound Japanese Yen, because the results are not shown, I'm gonna run Pound Japanese Yen now and show the results live. Wait, let me cut this out. I'm gonna show the results live right now. So let's put this here. So yeah, Ash, these are really the pairs. Now I'm gonna open them all, but I'll just read out the results. So for NZD USD, total net profit was 28K. The next one is 27,000, 4,118 for Pound USD, 9K, just over 9K for USD JPY. AD USD was break even, which is for a good reason. Euro USD was 18,294, and USD CAD was 24,564. So on average, the robot is doing about 30 to 40% over the month, so about 7 to 10% a month profit, basically.
Beautiful.
With indices here, now with US30, I always recommend to go for 1 lot, but you can do more. But 1 lot on a 50K account is about 2% risk. So if you get a stop loss here, it's $305. And the reward is 1,567, something like that. So overall, it gave an exact figure of 15,671. And these are all opening. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my full screen now so that I can navigate around. Let's go over here, downloads. Let's look at a couple more. So the best results, obviously, because the crypto robot, the robot is designed for crypto as well, is for crypto. So for Ethereum, the robot gave us 270,606 profit, and Bitcoin being the best is $491,335 profit from 50K at a fixed lot of 5K. Now, obviously, these results sound too good to be true. So I'm going to run them and show the proof of it. But before I do that, let me go over to Google Chrome and show you. So over here, let's just close this off for a minute. So let's close this off for a minute here. And let's have a... All right, so here's the results here. Now the graph is not showing for some of them on this HTML, but there's no problem. We can load the HTML again. I think it's just that my RAM is really low because I'm running this, so let's close this. Reload it. Okay, no problem. I'll get the graph. So here's the results, guys, anyway. So I'll pick out one at random. Let's just go to the last one here. So US 30, all right. Absolute drawdown was $2,512, which on a 50K account, that's 2.5% absolute drawdown maximum. The maximum drawdown was 3,397. Relative drawdown was the same. Okay.
Nice.
Now, if we look at consecutive wins and consecutive losses, you can see that 6 consecutive losses is less than 2%. So
yeah,
6 consecutive losses is just over 1%. So 1,830. All right. So that on a 50K account, 1% of 50 of 500K is 50. So actually, sorry, this is about 3%. No, 1%, 3%. And the consecutive wins is 7 in a row. That's the highest it's been, and that was almost $9,000. Okay, so the risk to reward here, you can see that consecutively losing on the robot doesn't mean that you're going to find yourself in a hole. Right? And these are the profits here. Now, I know that some of the profits seem bizarre. So like, for example, the Bitcoin one, I'll open it so that you can see how come the robot trades so well, and I'll demonstrate it live for you, Ash, so you can see.
Okay.
Here it is. So on here, the drawdown was a bit more because I did have it on like a bit of a high risk mode, but it's not on a high risk mode in the sense of over risking, but it's just more of an aggressive trader if you want to run it that way. So with 5 lots, the total net profit was 491,000 from 50K. The absolute drawdown was $12,000, okay, which was over a few trades. Now the number of short positions. Now, if you see here, the robot won every single trade the robot took on a sell, it closed all of them in profit. And 60 trades, well, out of this, in this case, out of the buy trades, there's only 1 trade that the robot lost. Every other single one is a win. And you're probably wondering, how does that work? So I'll show you the robot so that you can see how it operates. So
right.
I'm going to run the robot on, I'm going to put the optimal settings on quickly here for the robot. So I personally like to keep the robot on the D1 time frame, especially running it through strategy tester, just because the higher the time frame you use, the more data the strategy tester has to download and use to model the candles more accurately. So the best robots are the ones that can operate on high time frames without without performing badly or over risking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the settings back to how it was. So it was 5 lots here, 30 pips, and 150. So for example, I'll demonstrate on pound Japanese yen because the results wasn't written in the document, just to see exactly how it works. All right, when to drag stop to break even. Now, let me just put the optimal results that I have, because I kept a photo of this. Now, I spent 2 years, Ash, basically finding out, after writing the code for this, thinking about what exactly you need in order for you to really make the most of this robot. So, all right, I've got all of the settings right. So let me press OK. So I'm going to run this. All right, so you can see the results. Here it is from the beginning of February. I'm going to use pound Japanese yen as a demonstration for you to see how the robot operates. Now, the idea of the robot, the algorithm of this robot that I built is years of trading experience put into a system that can work. So algorithmically, what the robot is looking at is liquidity pools. It's looking at price order flow of how we will look at how retail traders trade. And this is why it can make the success it is. So let me run this robot here. I'll I'll show a demonstration of pound Japanese yen, and I'll also show a demonstration for crypto as well. Now, what I'm going to do, let me just put the candles here. Now, the robot that I have uses a Fibonacci tool as well, but a custom algorithmic one. So let me change the properties here so that you can see the robot in action.
Let's see.
White and then black. Black. Blue and red. Okay. So here you go. Let me take off the grid so that you can see what's going on. Properties. Now I'm going to leave the period separators on so that you can see as the market is doing how it happens in the day. So here's the property.
Yeah.
So this is the robot. What speed is it on? Let me just make this a little bit bigger so we can see what's called. All right, here we go. So this is it in real time. Now it does take a while to run, but you can see how the robot drags stop loss into even. I really want you guys to see this. If it's not clear on the blue, I'll go back to the other template. Ash, can you see the
blue's fine? Blue's fine.
Yeah, you can see it, yeah. All right, hold on. All right, so here you go. So my main thing, Ash, that how I wrote this code here is that the robot drags its stop loss to even pretty quickly, and it only takes trades based on a model of institutional order flow. Okay, and you'll see in a minute as it is. So at the moment, Ash, there's about 14 pairs you can use this on. The rest of the pairs, I've checked their volatility and tested it over time. The volatility doesn't work. So what you can use this on is Euro USD, AUD USD, USD JPY, NZ USD, Pound USD. So all of the major pairs in essence. You can use this on gold. Okay. You can use this on some of the minor pairs, not all of them. So for example, Pound Japanese yen, Euro, all of the JPY pairs can be used.
All of them, yeah.
Any of the JPY pairs. But stuff like Pound NZ, they don't have enough volatility range to be able to contain what's going on. Now you can see guys is in a slight drawdown, which is fine. It's going to be quickly rectified soon. And again, I want you guys to notice that in some months, the robot doesn't trade all the time. It only trades when it sees a signal. You can turn this robot into a scalping robot, and I'm not divulging any secrets on how. Do you see how the stop loss was just traced there, guys? So it follows the stop loss and puts the trading stop. So, yeah. Now you can turn this robot into a scalping robot. I'll be revealing the presets later on of how that works. So do you guys see how the stop loss is being followed around?
Amazing.
Yeah. All right. So that way you lock in profit. Now, there's more profit that just came in than what's on the graphical bar, but processing speed, guys, sometimes comes up a little bit slower. But yeah, so this is the idea. So for those of you who have questions about how to use this robot, now the preset settings, what I'm going to do is that I've got a preset list with a document. So if I was to right click on here, now it doesn't work on here because we're in strategy testing mode, but if I go over to a normal place and I was to right click here and drag the robot on, it will allow us to load settings. So it will look something like this. So if I control N for a minute, I'm going to drag on the robot here. All right. So let's drag this on. All right, here we go. So made by me. I'm the author. So over here, guys, there's this area here where you press save. What I've done is that the exact settings that you need is already custom built. So as soon as you get the file, you can load it onto your robot and just press OK, and the robot will start to work. Now, one thing as well I didn't mention is that the robot has 2 modes. Now, because I am a trader by trade, literally no pun intended, I make sure that I spend the time to I spent the time to really think about creating a robot that can provide value. Now, because the robot is running at such a fast pace, if the screen is slightly delayed a bit, I apologize for that, guys. So if things get frozen a bit, sorry about that, but let me just drag the robot back onto the chart. So over here, guys, there's an important part that I want you guys to observe with the robot. So if I scroll down just slightly, maybe I'll make this box a bit larger. Now the robot, as you can see, whilst we're talking, is in profit, is already recovered all the losses, is at 55,000 or 50,000, 53,000. So is at least 2% above right now. Okay. And you can see the recovery was pretty quick. All right. So there's a mode here called normal mode, and there's another mode called prop firm mode. Now, if you run prop firm mode, I've written code, it's long to explain how it operates, but in essence, what it will do is that if you tell it, it will check to see if you've taken a trade on your prop firm challenge already. You can also choose what stage in the final version that will be released of what stage you're in. But in essence, what you can do is you can allow the robot to trade in prop firm mode. Now, when the robot is in prop firm mode, it's always checking to see how long you have until the expiry time. And is monitoring also to see when you hit your profit target. The moment you hit your profit target, okay, there is a setting here called, and I'll show you, it says when enabled, all trades will be closed. Let me just drag this here. When prop firm is R, which means reached, okay? Now, because it's cut off a little bit, you can't see it. But in the final version of this robot, which will be just a few user setting changes, if you set this to true, if your profit target, and which you can set in over here, I'm going to show you over here. So if you set your profit target and put it here, which is right here, so user can set maximum. Now, the one that I've given you here, this one is just a talking version. In the actual version here, with the same code and the same profit that the robot is displaying right now, it would say profit target, choose your profit target. So let's say your profit target for stage 1 is 10%. If you put 10% in here, right? When the robot reaches 10% and it knows that your equity, so you could be in trades that is equal to 10%. So right here, the robot on pound Japanese yen has just gone past 56,000. So the robot would have already noticed that you reached 10% and closed and removed itself from the chart until you reload it for stage 2. If you have a one-step challenge, then it will just switch off the same way, and then you're going to choose funded mode, and then it'll continue trading. When it's in funded mode, it's not going to close at 10% unless you turn that on, okay? But in the challenge modes, you know, stage 1, stage 2, you put in your details of how many days you have for the challenge, what is the profit target, and the robot's going to monitor it automatically. So you could be out, and let's say you have equity that equals to 5% for a stage 2 challenge. What the robot will do is it will close at 5% and give you a congratulations message saying that, congratulations, you have passed stage 2 of your challenge, and then it will remove itself from the chart so that there's no possibility. In essence, it's foolproof to stop you from messing up the challenge and then failing your challenge, especially if you want to run this automated. Now, I will create presets for different prop firms. I'm aiming to do presets for FTMO, especially for the funded trader, because we have different 1-step and 2-step challenges with different targets and different stages and whatnot. So all of that will come into play later on. But in reality, this robot is designed to trade. Now, if you set this to normal mode, the robot will just take whatever equity you have in your account and trade with that. If you set it to prop firm mode, it acts more dynamically towards prop firm trading, automated prop firm trading, so that you can run it. So this is what's going on right now. So I'm going to close that. Let's look at the profit so far. So right now, the robot is at 58K profit. Let's have a look at the journal results. All right, so you can see the robot just closed that profit of 2K right there. Let's look at the actual chart to see what's going on. All right. Now, you can watch this video over and over again to see how the robot operates and what it's looking for in terms of, now you can see that my robot draws a Fibonacci range, but this Fibonacci range is an institutional one. This isn't a normal Fibonacci. Now, the ones you're probably used to have 23.6 and 38.2. These two levels, for those of you who know my teaching and watch the YouTube channels and you've heard me teach for years, these two levels are retail levels, and the algorithm of the market has certain reactions it has. Now, of course, I can't divulge the secrets of this robot, but these two levels here are retail levels that the robot pays attention to in a specific way. Okay, and I'll leave it at that. All right, so right now the robot is crossed over. We're at 61,000 profit, and you can see, guys, that there's nothing wrong with taking a loss on a robot. All right, but you can see how gradual the gains are on the robot. Is a smooth upward curve, is not a rapid one, and I designed it that way. Now, I know some people have seen the robot already and said to me, why don't you just turn it into a scalper, just put it on the 1-minute time frame and just, you know, rinse the market. But my idea is to create sustainable systems of wealth. you know, things that can grow sustainably, things that can be maintained and measured properly. Okay, now when the robot has good success and it sees an opportunity, let's see what happens on pound Japanese yen, because I actually don't even remember how much profit it made. So let's see what it does if it finds a trade. We may get these spikes where we have just an upward sharp trajectory, which means the robot's in consistent profit. But even if you notice here, guys, if I was to just hover over it and, you know, go through these lines, I'll use that annotation here. I'll use a pen so you can see. Let's just use red. So if you see over here, pockets where the robot gets into a slight loss, you can see it recovers straight away. Now, let me even undo this and use another color so you can see. Actually, you seen this, yeah?
Yeah.
So you see when the robot takes a loss, it recovers it. And you see we have these flatline moments. These flatline moments, if you see it, it means that the robot is going to put things to break even, all right, as soon as it sees it, all right? Now, I believe personally, spending time teaching programming for years and being a trading educator for years, that the best robots is not always about just having the best strategy. Of course, the strategy here is really good. Otherwise, we wouldn't have profit, of course. But I think a big major factor of why this algorithm works the way it has, and I've taken so long to release it. I've had this robot since 2021, but I haven't divulged anything because I wanted to make sure that the risk management was near perfect. And not just risk management, but trade management. Because it's one thing now, for those of you who know strategy testing, usually there's another line that crosses around here, like so, which would be your equity bar. Now, most of the time with a lot of trading bots, you know, the equity is different from the balance. But if you see, it's just because the robot is such a great trade manager, you can't actually see the equity line. So whatever, in essence, what that means when you don't see a line like that is that whatever profit the robot has in equity, it closes it in profit. If it didn't, you'll see spikes where sometimes the equity will be higher than the actual account balance, but then you don't see that profit closed, all right? And when you see that robot, that means the robot doesn't have great trade management, okay? So I just want to put that out there. Now, there are times where you can have an equity spike up and down, which is fine. For example, with the crypto version of, or crypto trading with the robot, which I'll show you Bitcoin and how it looks, you might have these divergences, which is natural to have, but it does depend on how the robot behaves, okay? So after this, actually, you want to see Bitcoin? Because I'm sure everybody's wondering, how did 50K turn into 490K? I'll show you.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's no problem at all. All right, guys. So far, so good. Now, the results I'm using, I'm back testing from the beginning of this year. Now, the reason why you say, okay, what about over 3 years? I've done over 3 years, over 2 years. However, the reason why I'm using this year's beginning of the year data is because the structure of the market has changed. The fundamentals of the market have changed drastically. And the algorithm that controls the market has changed dramatically from 2022 and 2021. During lockdown, the market conditions were completely different. Now, the robot is a great risk manager, so it can survive in those markets too. All right, and now I can post out the results for 3 years of study. My aim is to even run a 10-year one. It's just that I don't think Hugo's Way, for example, has the data feed for 10 years. So we'll have to find it in a special place, but we can get it. But anyway, the idea is that using 2023's data, I want to bring you something that's a reality, that if you ran this robot this year, what exact results would you have? Okay, I'm a proponent of back testing, and I am a programmer myself. We've been programming for many years in many different languages, and I teach programming too, and I have students. So I'm a proponent for lots of data. But for trading, one of the best ways to be able to see how relevant a robot is to see how well it performs in the year that you're living in. So in 2023, all of the data you're seeing here, all of the profit would have been yours in 2023. So this is why, again, I'm doing that. Now, that's another great trade. The robot dragged the stop loss. Actually, if you saw that, into profit, and then it was dragging in the stop loss. But yeah, this is really it, guys. Now, I know that this is going to be a long one because right now we're in June. So we've got July and August. So we're almost there. But this is what strategy testing is like. So I hope you can appreciate, guys, that I've given about 14 of these. I've been running my computer 24/7 to make sure that I provide the results for the work that I've put in on the algorithm. Now, Ash, do you have any questions about the robot whilst we're waiting for the strategy tester to finish running?
So you said you well, you've had a lot of people asking you to run it as a scalping bot.
Yeah.
So if you were to do it as a scalping bot, well, first of all, which strategy do you think will be most effective as a scalping bot, or do you think it's safer to run it on the daily charts as more of a, like a long-term bot, would you
Okay.
say?
That's a really good question. I think for me personally, I think it's safer to run the robot on the daily time frame because in essence, what the robot is doing is kind of in a sense scalping trade management, if you want to put it that way, where the stop loss is dragged to even at accurate times, but very quickly to be able to zero down on risk pretty, rapidly. And this is why the robot's able to have a stable upwards growth. Now, the problem is, guys, and this is more of a programmatic issue that you won't really hear from someone who's not a programmer and a trader. Okay. And I'm not being cocky at all. It's just I've spent many years as a trader before a programmer, so I know the difference. Now, when the price feed or the ticks, as we call it, are delivered from the server onto your MetaTrader platform, slippage is an issue that can happen. Internet connection is another thing that can happen. And even with robots, sometimes robots can take trades based on false signals because the price feed that comes in is not actually what the price is or is not read correctly. So this is why sometimes you see in your charts where you have these random candles that the market opens at one place and then closes at another, and it's not a gap, it's just like a randomly shaped candle, like for example over here. Now, the higher the time frame, to answer Ashley's question, and I'm sure many of you are wondering as well, the higher the time frame, the more data the robot has to sift through to be able to produce a trade, and also the internals of meta editor and how it works to convert the robot file into an executable file. The more data you have, because right now we're running this on the daily time frame, which I would say to you guys is the recommended time frame for all of this profitability. If you want to be successful with this robot, please run it on the daily time frame, because on the daily time frame, the robot has access to data, and the data feed that's coming into the robot even now on the strategy tester is from the H4, H1, M30, M5, all the way down to the M1. So there's a wide range of data and more accurate data for the robot to work with to be able to take a decision. Secondly, when you're on lower time frames, there's a bigger risk of the price feed or your internet connection causing there to be a discrepancy in the price. And that discrepancy can become a signal to the robot. So the robot can be prone to access or have more false signals. Okay. So if you want to turn it to a scalper, then what I've done is that the code that I have is to change the way that the robot reads candles so that it can mask or reduce the amount of false signals it will take. And then what you would have as results here will just be on the smaller time frame. Now, the gains you will have will not be as large because as you go down in time frame, you're going to have smaller stop losses. Otherwise, you're putting yourself at larger risk. Number two, one of the things that the robot thrives on is volatility. So if you're on lower time frames like the M5 and the M1, the volatility will never be as great as if you're on the D1 time frame because you have the liquidity of the entire day at your service to look for a trade. Whereas with the 5-minute, you're looking at very specific candles at specific times, probably like the London Open or the US Open. So for accuracy, for better risk management, and especially with MetaTrader 4, now I will be developing the MetaTrader 5 version very soon because I do program in MQL5 as well. I just wanted to stick to MT4 for now because most people still use MetaTrader 4. Most people are more comfortable and familiar with it. Okay. And I also will create the Python version, Python script version for this too, which you can attach to MetaTrader 5. But for now, with all of what I've said, this is the reason why I chose the daily time frame. Now, another reason, which is more of a wealth building tactic, is that I wanted to create a system that doesn't entice people into being money hungry and using emotion instead of logic. So with the robot, as I have it here, we have a more sustainable growth month to month where you can see the average gains that you're making. So as you can see here, without having to use the strategy tester, you can see that over the months here, wherever you see pink and yellow lines is where the robot took a trade. So in this month here, the robot took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trades, which if you were to do the maths, if there was now no month in trading is 30 days, they're usually either 20 to 25. So on average, the robot's taking about 2 trades in a week or 3, which is very sustainable, but yet it's still coming out with quite a good amount of profit. Because
it's only 2 to 3 a week.
Yeah, just 2 to 3.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, because I designed it to trade like me, guys, which for me, I'm a person, I like to take risks, but I only like to take a trade when there is one. That's just my, I don't like to chase the market. I prefer the market to come to me. Now, on the balance sheet here, you can't actually see the trade, but at the moment, we're around about 60,000 according to the strategy tester. All right. You can see that again is a great risk management. You guys see how the stop loss is being dragged with the price? You see that, Ash?
Let me see. Yeah.
So the stop loss is trading behind the actual price as you're in profit. So the reason why, again, you don't see large equity spikes where the balance is 50K and the equity is 5,500, but you haven't locked in that profit, is because I specifically designed this robot to have enough space and time to follow through with the trades and allow for you to, even if you don't hit the take profit, because I've seen a lot of robots in my time, and one of the biggest problems with robots is that they have a great take profit, but the market may come 1 or 2 pips away from it. Now, if it was a manual trader, you would just close it. But with most robots, if it gets near to its take profit and it doesn't close it, and to be honest, to write code to say, okay, if you're near your take profit for 30 minutes and you don't reach it, then close, you can write that code. It's actually pretty simple to do. But instead of that, it's better to just lock in profit as you're going along. Now, humanly speaking, it's not humanly possible to drag all your stop losses and manage them all the time. And this is why some of you say, well, I'm a trader, I don't need a robot. But robots are not just about because you're a trader. It's about building systems of wealth, automating wealth, and creating systems that allow you to be human. Because, for example, I know that sooner in the future I'm going to be a dad. When I'm a dad and my kids are crying and there's a perfect entry here, I won't have the time to take the trade. But then I have a system here that can cover for me and actually take the trade, and I can still be building my wealth even though I'm not around. You know, for even for women, or for some of you who say, well, I don't know anything about trading. This is another reason why I designed it, because as a trading teacher, I've taught 283 people in my time of teaching. I have an academy of about close to 60 students right now that I'm teaching. Okay. Who are lovely traders, some are really, really fantastic traders and are great in their own right. Okay. But I know that most people in this world do not have the time to invest in trading. Okay, they might have the money to invest, but not the time. And if you don't have the time, you generally don't have the time, and it's not like an excuse because you don't want to. You need a system where you can still access these markets and take opportunity from it. Because the banks are, I worked nationwide, guys, for 5.5 years. Now, if you're listening from another country, just type in nationwide building society on Google, and you find out that, you know, what it is. But I worked in a bank for many years. I went through many training about teaching how to open banks and to, how to get people into loans. Unfortunately, I can't say everything that happened there, but there were some practices that I didn't like, in the sense that, trying to convince people at 80 years old to get into new debt and stuff, which just didn't sit right. So to put money in a savings account, that inflation is higher than the savings account rate. So they're not making any nominal money anyway. They're making nominal money, but their buying power is going down. So, the term savers are losers. This is, where I learned it from before I even read a book, because I saw it firsthand. So I can tell you from my experience, guys, that, having a system of wealth or alternative systems of wealth, yes, trading has risk, just like with everything. Everything in life is a risk. Even to go outside to the bus stop and take the bus is a risk, because you might not come back home, but you have to take that risk in order to get the reward of getting to your destination. And so when there are systems with people who are integrous, who have spent the time and the effort and have the qualifications to deliver systems like this, like myself and like Ash, then you can have a system where you can actually build wealth from. So for me as a trader, I'm telling you that even in my future, I always want to have systems of wealth. Now, even as a human, if I'm having a bad trading month, or I'm having a bad time and I'm just not seeing the market, and traders, Ash, this, we've had times where we've just taken hell of an amount of losses because it's just not right for the market. Is just not right for us. But it doesn't mean opportunities there. Maybe our head is not in the right space. Even our health can be affected. Me and Ash are both big proponents of health. We love to train.
Every day.
Ash has become even better, way better than me.
No, man, not even.
With health is important. Sometimes it's not even healthy to look at the charts for your eyes, to be looking at trying to capture trades. some of my friends who work in, I can't mention their names, but work in the top institutions and, who are developers, who have built some of the key systems that cause the banks to make money whilst you're losing money. Speaking to them, every institution around the world, including the banks you go to, when they interact with the financial markets, which they do, they don't actually use human intervention in the same way you might think. They don't have, thousands of screens with people. One person has 5 million in a trading account,
Yeah,
has 50 million, and one saying, yeah, buy, and the other one saying sell. They all use algorithms, very highly complex algorithms to navigate through the market, because at the end of the day, guys, we're human, and with human beings, we can make mistakes. Sometimes you want to press buy, but you end up pressing sell. As simple as it gets, and then you lose money. So this is why having systems that are automated, for me, it used to be an alternative, but it's actually definitely something that should be a necessity. There should be some parts of your life that can be automated. If there's tasks that are repetitive, it's good to automate them. Like, I know you guys have seen the recent, buzz of AI, and there's so many AIs that can edit videos for you, because all of these tasks are repetitive tasks. So if you can create a system that can do repetitive tasks and you can save time, why not? So there's another trade that's took off. You can see it's dragging the stop loss perfectly. It might not hit the take profit, but if it hits the stop loss, then I'm out. All right, so that would have hit the take profit, but at least I didn't lose much if I was trading this live, right? Hope you guys saw this live. Now I'll put some YouTube shorts and stuff out so you can see this in live action, but I think we're coming to a close now of this robot. Where are we right now? We're 31st of July. So we've got about 10 days left in August. All right, so we're in August now, guys. So again, we'll have a look and see the results. Let's see what the journal says. All right, now it's because of the amount of processing power that's going through, I have a lot of applications open. I have my programming base open that has a lot of code for my programming students. So it might be running in the background and it takes a lot of RAM. So this hasn't updated yet, but at the end, we're going to see the results. And then I'll do one more for Bitcoin and then we're done. But I really hope this video, helps you guys. If you have questions, you can reach out to me. You can speak to Ash, but we will definitely be here to help you to be able to build systems of wealth that are sustainable. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the
100%, 100%. Even this morning, just as you were saying, Mike, sometimes you're in a loss and then it turns around to be a win. That was literally what happened to me this very morning. I was actually in a loss, then I left it, I checked it a few hours later, and I was in profit, all closed out in profit.
Perfect.
So, yeah, that's the life of a trader.
100%. 100%. And I generally will be honest, in my time of teaching as well, I feel like it does take a lot of effort and it takes many years to build the psychology to be able to look at a loss and leave it alone and go and do something else.
It's not easy.
Especially if you're dealing with big numbers, even for those of you who want to get into prop firm trading and stuff like that, or even just your own money. Imagine you have a $50,000 dollar account and you're in minus. Now you shouldn't be in minus 5K because that's 10% loss. But let's just say you have a normal 1K loss, which is about 2%, and you're seeing your account is at minus, $1,000 in the first 5 minutes. But you've done the analysis, you have a trade and etc. Oh, by the way, it's updated here, so you can see we're at 65,000, 66,000 right now. But can you guys see this? It's a very constant curve, even in this period here, and I'll come back to my story here. It's a very consistent flow. This is why I say to you guys that those of you that get access to this robot, please just keep to the D1 time frame. Okay. Don't go and use another time frame. It's not even necessary. You might not get all the trades in the world or a trade every day, but that doesn't matter. I'd rather take two, because how I designed this robot, another side to it is that the robot has something called a filter. I have 13 of them, which means that before the robot decides to take a trade, there's 13 scenarios that it looks at before it will decide whether I'm going to take a trade. Now, even if it takes less trades, like 3 in a month or 3 in a week, let's say, to most people that sounds, oh, that's bad, that robot's rubbish, it doesn't barely trade. But no, what the robot's looking for, the reason why there's many wins and not that many losses, or even if there is a drawdown, it doesn't last for long, is because the robot is very specific. Just like me as a trader myself, and as I teach my academy students, that we're looking for very specific signatures in the market. Everything else is noise until we find that signature. When we find it, we want to execute. And this is why no matter how many losses the robot may take, you can see these down periods. Overall, if I was to do a trend line, some technical analysis with the results. There's a bullish trend line. We're going up. You know what I mean? Whichever way you put it, because the risk management is on point, and the robot is very specific of what it's looking at. All right. Now, you guys didn't like my trend line bullish joke, but anyway,
it was a good one, mate.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if I was to draw a line for all technical analysis with a strategy tester, if you look at it from this angle, you can see that no matter what, even if we get down to a point of a drawdown, overall, this is still trending upwards. Now, it looks like the strategy tester is done. So let's have a look at the results. All right. So I'm going to clear everything here. And let's go back to the mouse. I'll keep this over here because we can circle the results. So here's the results, guys, of the robot. So you can see on average, now, if you want to see the biggest loss on the robot, the biggest loss on the robot will be up here somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. All right. Now, it's not showing over here, but we can actually see it on the other side. So, okay, here we go. So we have a few losses. Now, the losses are minus $1,000. But again, losing $1,000 from 660,000, for example, is less than 2%. The idea of the robot is that I wanted it to always be a robot that loses maximum 2%. Now, the robot has other settings, like if you tell it that, you know, if you lose more than 2%, stop trading, it will stop. So sometimes even if it sees a trade, it won't take it until the next day, for example, because it's lost more than 2%, and it doesn't. We don't want to create consecutive losses. So in essence, one of the things or the major strength of this robot is that it actually follows the rules of what a trader should do. If you're in a loss of 2%, calm down for the day and come back tomorrow instead of over trading. If you're in a win, make sure you lock in profit with your stop loss. Okay, now there's other cool secret features I can't mention that make the robot the edge that it has, but we're just going to leave it there. But anyway, let's look at the results and the report here. So the report says the net profit is 17,783 and 64. So I'm going to mark this out for you, Ash, to see. So draw here. So this is one of the recommended pairs. Now, all Japanese yen pairs are recommended. Pound Japanese yen is our favorite personally in the academy. Yeah. Now, if we look at here, what we have here. So gross profit here. Let's look at the positions here. So look at this. So the number of positions won by the robot won 50% of the trades it took. So 14 out of 27, or 14 out of 28, sorry.
Look at the profit difference.
Yeah. For the buy position, roughly the robot won about 50% and lost about 50%. So the reason why I want you guys to see this is that this is literally a 50-50 win. So the robot's winning half of the time and losing. So what sets the robot apart is that the robot is a fantastic trade manager. So this is a problem. I didn't plan this, but this is such a great example. You can see for yourself, 50% of the time when there's a sell, it wins, and 50% of the time it loses. 50% or just less than 50% of the time it wins its buy positions, and just less than 50% of the time it loses the trades, right? So you can see here that the maximum loss of the trade here is $1,060, but the biggest wins is 5,157, and then the second lowest one is 1,757. So you can see here that this really, as a robot, the strategy is still amazing, but one of the most important factors that you can see here is like flipping a coin. The risk reward of this robot is always net positive. Okay, and number two, the risk management is clear. You can see this, Ash, right? So
yeah. So, love it.
Yeah, this is why I tell you guys to trade on the D1 time frame only, because the risk management is clean. Okay, and I'm gonna keep this report here, save this as a report, and just here so that you guys have it. I'll just call it GJ and add it to the list. Now, there's going to be a link available where I've put in the folder something very similar to what we have here with the strategy tester. Okay, all of the different trades that have happened basically since the beginning of my testing. So there will be about 14 of those in the downloadable zip file on the website that you can actually download and take in detail, comb through. You can pull in some traders for them to check the results and see, and there's nothing to hide. Everything is here is transparent. All right, so let me run Bitcoin really quickly because I know you guys want to see that. Now the robot settings for Bitcoin are slightly different, so I'm going to adjust those. Now I need to actually remember the settings so I get this right. For Bitcoin, I think it is the same settings. Yeah, I think it is. Okay, cool, with 5 lots. I can actually check this out and see because I already have the Bitcoin results here. So let me just clear this and get this out of the way quickly, and then I'll know what the settings are. Now, I just want to demonstrate this for you guys to see. So stop loss 30, take profit 30. Yeah, so it's the same. All right, so let's go over to Hugo's way and let's take a look here. So let me just go to annotation and clear everything, clear all drawings. Let's run it on Bitcoin and let's see what we get, right? So Bitcoin, you ready, Ash? Yeah?
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, here we go. So here we go. Here's what's going on, guys. So you can see already the robot's almost at 100K already in the first couple of days. Now you're probably wondering, I don't see a stop loss on this. So how come it's still being able to trade? Well, there's other systems within the robot that are not disclosed that can control the robot. So right now we're at 118K already. You seen that, Ash?
And the starting balance was 50.
The starting balance was 50, yeah.
My goodness.
All right. Now, this setting I have here is the higher end of risk. So there will be 2 periods in this probably where there could be like a bit of a drawdown. Okay, so this is something that for those of you who are crypto investors and you want somewhere to invest and grow your money whilst the market itself, physical, crypto market is not really doing much. The altcoin season is not really doing well. All right, this is what's happening here. So now, even though the price is selling off, the robot knows that the market is about to go long again. So you see here, there's a big equity spike here, but it will recover it by itself in a moment. So if you're going to use this robot for this, I wouldn't recommend, obviously, trying to over risk. But the robot is designed, as you can see.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, to immediately. Okay. So this setting is a special one. In reality, if you were going to run this on and we were to have a discussion, you can set stop losses too. Okay. The robot is using the internal stop loss that I created to be able to run this. So now another thing that with this equity spike as well, here you go. So you can see the robot recovers straight away. Now, of course, if you saw the robot's balance going from 130 down to half of it, you'll be so scared. And this is why if you're going to do this, this is more of a high risk strategy where the risk management is still on point, but it's designed to be more fluid. Okay. But the robot knows what it's doing, because if it takes a loss, like it took a loss just a moment ago, it's not trading until it sees the signature. All right. And it immediately drops to break even. So let's continue watching this and see what happens. Now, Ash, do you have any more questions? Like, about
yeah, I was actually going to ask about the internal stop loss.
Yeah.
Is that something that can be overridden by market conditions? Like, for example, if let's say there's a massive spike, can the internal stop loss sometimes be overridden or ignored?
No, it can't be overridden because it will always be running. Basically, every single price feed, that every tick that comes in, the robot is looking at the price feed to compare to its internals to know what to do to come out. So
right
on the setting I have right here, I put the maximum amount of losing trades to I think about 10 or something like that, consecutive losses. But the robot itself knows that internally, if you get into, so basically there's a setting, I'm divulging some more secrets of the robot. There is a setting that checks the free margin level of your account. That's one of the secrets there, that it checks the free margin level to see if it's actually okay to take another trade. If it knows it can't take another trade, then it's going to close this one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But of course, we will never allow the margin to get to where it is. This robot, this with 5 lots, the recommended amount would be to probably do this with 1 lot on a 50K account. If you want to do this with 5 lots, you're going to have a larger account, maybe 250K or something, or And I would say to you guys that don't try to use this on a prop firm, because this is not for prop firm trading per se. If you want to pass your prop firm challenge, we have the US 30, which I guess I'll demonstrate afterwards. That's the last one I'll do. We have the US 30 if you want something that is more of an indexy pair, or you can just follow through FX. At the end of the day, guys, right now, there's a lot of money circulating where you can automate your prop firm experience and make a lot of money from that. I understand that. Okay. But as I've created a robot, I've created a robot to be dexterous. I'm not really into the idea. Now, I've seen people do it. That's their own kind of thing. For me personally, I think every good programmer knows that it's better to create a system that is versatile than multiple systems that are very specific, you know, because this robot can do quite a lot of things. And this is why I spent many years on it, because right now the robot is trading is for a aggressive personal account. Okay, but the robot can also be a very good risk manager, as you've seen just previously with pound Japanese yen, right? So, yeah. Now let's watch this and see. So here you go, it's refreshed now. So right now we're at 293,000, almost at 300,000 in profit. And if you want to see the trades, here it is, guys. So here you go. Right now we're at 308K. You seen that, Ash?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So right now it's at 308K right now, profit. And even though we've had these equity spikes, which of course some of it is, you know, can be adjusted. Can you see, guys, the consistent upward hill, guys? Can you see that Ash as well continue upwards peak on the balance? Yeah. All right, guys. So you can trade this on crypto. The idea is that I'm going to make lots of custom settings for you to see it, and then you know, run it from here. Now we're in the month of May. I know this video is going to be extremely long, but I just wanted to make a video that can whet your appetite. You can have a look and chop this up, see what you want to see from it, and you know, go from there. Okay. Now, even though the equity spikes are happening, of course, this can be easily adjusted. Okay, with just two settings on the robot, but the balance structure will still remain the same. It will still be an upward hill movement in terms of taking trades. So, yeah, this is the system here that I've got. All right. So we're coming to a close now. And let's see what happens here. So yeah, guys, so this is the robot on crypto. You can also use this on Ethereum. You can use it on different pairs. It really depends on you. Okay. But again, I just want to recount that if you want to trade crypto, I would say in general, it makes more sense to trade Forex and indices and gold on a prop firm than to do it on to do Bitcoin, because a lot of prop firms, when it comes to crypto, the actual contract size is massively reduced. With Hugo's Way is quite a free broker in the sense that 0.01 lot size, or one lot is actually 10 lots, you know, 0.01 is actually 0.10 on some brokers. Okay. So because of the risk of the volatility on crypto, some of the brokers who want to protect themselves have a smaller contract size for Bitcoin. So, and what I found is that with most prop firms, that's the same thing. For you to really get a good trade out of a prop firm with Bitcoin, they need to be using a broker that's pretty free and open, which is not really the case, unfortunately. They don't actually have that system. So if you want to run this and kind of get these results, which if you ran this, you would get exactly the same results on your account. And now this is not financial advice, but this is the facts of evidence of data here. And I've run this twice now and it's come up with almost the same results. But in essence, anyway, I would say it's a lot better to run these kind of strategies for crypto on a personal account. Okay, so this robot is not limited to trading on just a prop firm. Prop firm, of course, is a major aspect because there's a lot of opportunity to automate wealth there. But also, if you're someone who has the money to have a personal account and you can put a good amount in there to run, you can do the same thing. Now, I will say this to you, that the robot is not a magician. So don't try to put $1,000 into a personal account and put these settings of 5 lots and expect to come out with 300K. Because first of all, the robot will know that you don't even have the margin to be able to contain that trade, and it won't allow it. So you can't even do that anyway. But again, on this 50K account, I put 5 lots. So if you're in a 10K account, it'll be 1 lot. So if you're in a $1,000 account, it'll be 0.10. Okay. So this will be what you would run on Bitcoin. Now, some brokers, the minimum you can put is 1 lot on Bitcoin. Some allow you to put any, you know, but again, the idea is for you to be able to create a sustainable system. So even though you're seeing massive profits with Bitcoin, and it is a more higher risk because of the volatility, but again, as I told you, going to across the road to get to the other side is a risk, just like with everything. But for you to get reward, you do have to take risks, you know? So right now, of course, the graph is not updating. Right now, we're in June. And the report is saying that we have this. So far, let's see where we are. So right now, you can see here, guys, it looks like the robot is just making crazy profits. But if I can just scroll down here for a minute and catch your attention. So you see here, sometimes the robot takes in $534, other times $670. Some other times it takes in $62.50. So it's not just crazy. When the robot finds a good opportunity, as you can see here, it will take, you know, $9,000, almost $10,000 here. I'll scroll up a little bit more for you to see some more. All right. Now, because the strategy tester is testing, if you're wondering why does it say modify so many times for just one trade, is because I've designed the robot to be very, very on point with every single trade. That's the short answer to the story. All right. So let's go up here and see if we can find some more. All right. So let's see. All right, so some of the balances have been omitted out, but you'll see at the end anyway. I think it hasn't updated yet. But yeah. Now, actually, you have any questions about crypto or anything like that, trading the robot or any specific pair you want to talk about?
Well, just wanted to touch on one thing you mentioned. You said this is not friendly for it's not prop firm friendly, basically.
Yeah. It's not prop firm friendly, yeah. The reason why it's not prop firm friendly is because the style of trading that the robot is going for is for a personal account style. Number two, even if it was prop firm friendly, it is taking higher risk than normal. And number two, prop firms usually are using brokers that have Bitcoin on a very low contract size. So, and it has a very low contract size and a very high margin. So maybe 1 lot might cost, let's say something like $6,000, but 1 lot would only produce you, let's say going from Bitcoin going from 3,000, from 30,000 to 30,100 with 1 lot may give you, let's say $10 instead of $100. So they purposely make sure that the crypto contract size is low, because the volatility for crypto is really high. So it's a way for them to protect themselves. However, we have a list of brokers between me and Ashley. We have a list that I've formulated, which we can show you which brokers to use to be able to kind of get these results with the least amount of margin.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you want to know, I'm going to quickly go over here and just show you. If I go to the market watch section here, I'm going to close this up and go to Bitcoin. Now, I have a little bit of money in this account, but if I pull up this indicator here, now we have a risk management indicator because I'm all about risk management. If I pull up this risk management indicator on the chart, you're going to see something here. So on this broker specifically, 0.01 lots only cost $23.17. Now I'm using a pound account for this one. So it's actually £23.17 to have a 0.01 position margin. So if we scale it up a bit, having a 1 lot trade on this broker will cost you $2,300. To have 5 lots will cost you $10,000. All right, I'll do the maths over here so you can see what I'm talking about. Right, so let's do some maths while we're waiting for this to work. So For Bitcoin, 0.01 equals 2.317 margin. Now, if you're wondering, why am I looking at margin? Well, the margin requirement, for those of you who are not too sure what it is, see the margin requirement kind of like a refundable down payment. In order for the broker to allow you to take that level of position in their brokerage, you need to put some money down on the table as what we call margin. So it's like kind of like put your money down situation. So right now, to trade one lot, okay, would be, we have to times by 100, which would equal to 23,117 pounds. Okay, and this is in pounds, guys. So in dollars, it will be maybe slightly more, right? Now, here you go, guys. You can see we're at 472, almost 500K right now on the robot. All right, I'll show you some of the profits it's doing whilst I'm in between. So you can see the robot just did a nice little trade here. See if it can show that for us. Is it there? Let's bring that down. Here you go. So we have 5,000 here, $12,000, $300 here, $5,000 here. So you can see all of these little gains here and there are causing the robot to, produce these gains. And we're almost at, right now, basically we've almost 10 times the money of Bitcoin. So from the beginning of the year to now, if you put 50K, this would have been your results. So you can see from data and evidence, because I'm not a person that likes to make emotional noise and gas it up and get you to, be involved. But if you actually ran this robot, the data is showing you here, and you can see here that this is the most precise time frame. Okay, this is the most precise method based on all available least time frames to generate each tick. So this is the most precise method out of every strategy testing method available. So the results here are very, very close to the original results. Of course, because it's not this is a back testing market or data that's already happened. It might be slightly different. But you can see here that every tick, the most precise method based on all these candles here. All right. So moving forward here, guys, for you to see, let's continue. So right now I have 5 lots running. So in this pound account, which is my GDP account, I don't actually use this account, but it's just got a little bit of money, so I can use this to demonstrate. What we would have to do would be 2,117 times by 5, right? Times by 5. So that is going to be, let's times that by 5, another 5, 1,115. So it's about 11585 from the maths off the top of my head. All right. So for you to even take 5 lots, you need to have at least 11,585. And that's not including the money you need to have open for the wins and losses on this. So ideally, this is why if you're going to run this method, you need to be a high net worth individual or have good savings. And I want to tell you the truth, and Ashley will tell you the same, that we will never sugarcoat anything. Okay. So if you don't have this kind of capital and you're not willing to risk it, you shouldn't run Bitcoin in the method I've shown you. I know the numbers are great, but if you don't have the emotional resilience or the risk tolerance to accept this, don't do it. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, okay? Only risk what you're prepared to lose.
100%. And this
is not that you're going to lose it, but you've got to be prepared.
Yeah, 100%. You have to be prepared. And financially too, if you're going to take a loss that's going to cause your whole family to live under a bus or under a bus stop or something like that, then don't do it either. Okay. So it has to be, that's why we recommend prop funds, because you're spending a lot less money to get access to a lot more money. It's just that in compensation for a lot more money that's not your own, and which you can withdraw if you make profit, you have to be a really good risk manager, and which is why I focus on risk management. So I hope you guys can see the versatility of this robot. Now it says that we finished the testing here, and let's take a look at the results here. So you can see the final result is that we just less than $500,000 made from this robot. Let me see. Yeah, the robot stopped trading now. So let's have a look at the journal. Here's the report. So you know that this is not made up. So absolute drawdown is 13,748. All right. The net profit of this robot is 447,000. So close to $500,000. All right. You can see here. Now, this is where I wanted to show you the difference between the first line. If you remember with pound Japanese yen, we had 50% wins and 50% losses. If you look at the win and loss ratio for Bitcoin right here, 100% of the trades it took for a sell were right. It didn't lose any single trade. And for the buy positions, 98% of the trades were wins. It only lost 1 trade. So you can see there's a very big difference. Ash, are you seeing that?
Insane.
Yeah. Now that's why I spent 2 years on this, guy, so that I can produce results like these. Okay, so this is not a fantasy robot or something that, you know, when people take screenshots on Instagram and says, come and join our robot, and then after it doesn't work. This is real proof. You know, this is my robot. I just won't open up the file area where the code is, because if I do, maybe someone might screenshot and take some proprietary pictures. So I'll leave that out. But this is actually my robot, okay, that I built it from my own hands. My name is Michael Roberts. You can check me out. My Instagram is The Real Money Mikes. I've been trading for a long time, and I've basically put my mind into a robot, okay? So again, 100% of the positions taken short, this is not a lie, this is data, not me, were wins. From the buy positions, 98% of the trades the robot took were win. There was only one loss. The results speak for itself. And that's how the robot is able to create these kind of results. Okay. Now, these equity differences here, because I'm sure someone will say, well, yeah, you've got some very big drawdowns. I know. All right. As I said, the risk management settings are still 90% optimal. Just a few things you'd want to change for your account. So I know that there is a drawdown period here, and there's also a period here. I can see that. But in the grand scheme of things, the robot was operating from 0 to 78. That's the number of trades it's taken. So from February until so for 6 months, the robot had 2 equity spikes. That's it. In the whole of this period of the time that we're looking at, only 2. Now, where are you going to find the results? Even me as a trader, I'm blown away by these results, because I know humanly this is not possible to do.
It's mental.
It's absolutely mental. So the results are there, guys. This is the robot here. It will be available for you guys to purchase in the future. Me and Ashley will take care of dealing with you. And we kind of want to have consultation calls with you to kind of help you understand where we are. All right.
That's it.
Strategy tester here. This is the results. I mean, there's nothing more that's needed to be said. Now, Ash, do you want to show any other strategy testing of the robot? Is there any proof that else do you need, or are you good to...
I think this is good, to be honest. This is literally more than enough to get anyone excited.
Yeah, I hear you, Ash. You know,
Yeah.
so again, results don't lie. 100%.
No, numbers don't lie, man. What you know what they say? What can't speak can't lie.
100%. What can't speak can't lie. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And the robot can't speak. You can see the profit here.
That's it.
50K all the way up to 492,000. All right, so that's it. So I'm gonna save this results here. And yeah, we'll catch up with you guys on the next video. So everybody take care. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next one.